Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Realty Report. I have a dear friend, somebody I care about, a legend in the UFC world and MMA, legendary coach and UFC head trainer, in my opinion, the best, Mr. Ray Longo. Ray, how are you, bud?
My man, finally got together with you.
Unbelievable. Great to see you, man. How are you?
Good. You've been avoiding me.
I ducking you, yeah, definitely. I want to jump right in it.
Let's do it.
So many people ask me, if you speak to Ray, ask him this, that. So let's just do it. Ray, about what age when you realized you love martial arts? You liked it. You like
It's
martial arts.
easy. 13, 12,
Wow.
13, not 12, 13.
So young.
Seventh grade. Yeah, young. Well, yeah,
And
really young. Because there was a guy in the neighborhood that, I used to play ball with a lot of older guys, and there was a guy, maybe he was like 5'6", but everybody feared the guy. He was a black belt under Miyazaki at the time, had a school in
big
Flushing.
name.
Miyazaki was a big name back then, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of his black belts, and then he went on to train with Alan Lee right after that in the city. He went from like Shotokan karate to a style of kung fu. And the
Got you.
guy was just a badass. So I would hear about him, and hear all the stories. And I finally met the guy one night up at like rec. He was years older than me, but he was like kind of teaching outside. And that was it. I became a student. But yeah, 13, 14, I was really into it. And that was at a time when, there's no
Yeah.
internet. There's nothing, man.
No access
If
to
a fight
nothing.
happened in Thailand, no. If a fight happened in Thailand, how the fuck are you gonna know about it? You'd have to
Absolutely.
call a guy in Thailand. You know what I mean? So either that, or you wait for a magazine to come out 9 months later and give you the results. But that's how crazy this got with
It's
the
so true.
information age. Right now, you're seeing everything real time. Like right, it doesn't
Video,
matter where it
YouTube,
is
yeah.
in the world. Think about where we've come, because you're close to my age. You're getting up there anyway.
Yeah,
But
no.
there was no
Absolutely.
way of finding out anything. Even if something
Nothing.
was going on in fucking Chicago, it was a
It's
problem.
true. It's crazy. So
So
you're a teenager. When when did you get the interest and love jump into UFC? How? How?
wait, when did I get the what? I missed that part.
The
When did I
love
get the
for
what?
and want to get into the UFC. When did that start?
Well, you got to remember. So I'm training boxers and kickboxers before the UFC.
Right.
So I'm promoting fights with Lou Neglia at the time.
Right.
So
I know
I'm
that.
gonna say, where were you? Like 93, maybe the UFC comes around, something like that. Um, it kind of just fell into place, because when I went to do jujitsu in the city, that's where I met Matt Serra, and everything was just jujitsu. Nobody really even cared about the striking. And then,
Right.
oh, so I take that back. So wait, hold on a second. Wait. So when I first started doing jujitsu, the UFC wasn't around yet. Then I dislocated my shoulder, sparring or fighting, whatever the fuck I was doing. But I dislocated my shoulder, and I was out for like 6 months. In between that time, and by the time I got back, the UFC already had its first show. So like when I was doing jujitsu back in the day, there was maybe 2 or 3 people in the class. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody knew what the fuck it was. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? So it was crazy. And then the instructor was a black belt under Hori and Gracie that moved to New York, and he was starting to question me, like, how do I even make a living doing this? Like, nobody's. If
Not
we had
easy.
4 or 5, not easy. So at the time, I would even bring my students, so we would at least have a couple of guys in the class. Like, that's how weird it was. And then the UFC hits. I had dislocated my shoulder, so I was out a couple of months. And by the time I got back, it went from like 3 people to 30 people in the first class to 30 people in
Amazing.
the next class. Like, it just exploded. And that's where I kind of met Matt. And, then he, showed an interest that he wanted to fight. And we're both from Long Island. I already had, at the time, did I
Absolutely.
have any golden gloves? I mean, I had a lot of guys in the finals of the gloves, and I had a kickboxing champ. So I already had a reputation on Long Island. So I guess I was the go-to guy at that point for
Absolutely.
striking. And it just kind of fell into it. And then you know, as a martial artist, you of course you love everything. You know what I mean? Now
Everything.
you got some. Yeah, now you got to change your whole game up. It was good. It was nice.
So the reason why I'm jumping a little bit is because of freaking these stupid time constraints on StreamYard. But
Oh,
yeah, I would sit here for 3 hours with you and ruin your day. You know
no,
what I
no, no.
mean?
We could keep doing this 20 minutes at a time.
So
It's
I
all
want to
good.
give just the guys a little taste of Ray Longo. So you build your brand. We're going to jump a little bit. Tell me how it feels to create champions, to play a part
All right.
and
Well, look.
playing a big part in molding champions, because you
Well,
have as many as anybody.
right. Look, it's always a great thing when you can be a part of something that's going to be part of history for the UFC. Like that shit's not going anywhere. I mean, we're in the history
100%.
books 200 years from today. They're going to go back and say there was a guy, you know,
My man.
knocked out GSP. You know what I mean? So, like, that part is good. And I always say this, like, it was a big sacrifice. And I had 2 kids and a wife, and I probably, you know, was traveling when I should have
Absolutely.
been home a couple of times. But at the end of the day, it's rewarding because I got to the top of where I was supposed to go. You know what I mean? So at least I might have not been present a little bit, but at least it wasn't that I was failing at something, because then it would be a total disaster. You didn't do the right
Absolutely.
thing on one. Yeah, I'm not saying I didn't do the right thing, but
No,
it,
without
it was
doubt.
hard. It was hard to juggle
The
everything,
career you
especially
chose.
yeah, you know.
As
So,
men, we have to
but
provide. That's how you provide it.
yeah, so now it's good because, you know, like my kids will come home and go, man, somebody knows you. Like they can't even believe it. I'm saying they didn't even know what I was doing back in the day. You know, it's just so
Many guys told me they thought you
it
were nuts. You know, we talked about it.
yeah,
You went
yeah,
into this, thing nobody heard of, and now
yeah.
look. Now
It
look.
was it was crazy. Yeah, yeah. It was a crazy period of
Now
time, and
look.
yeah, you know. So even when those guys were fighting back in the day, Craig, there was no coverage. You had like Full
Nothing.
Contact Fighter, a couple of magazines, but you didn't have the coverage like now. Is like,
Yeah.
again, the
It's
information
growing.
age. It's beautiful, man. You
It's
could have
still
a, you know,
growing.
you're fighting in Abu Dhabi and guys are watching you back home. When
That's
the hell
crazy.
were we getting that? We'd have to go to, like,
No.
you know, a movie theater to watch Ali fight Frazier closed circuit. Remember, it
I'll
was
never
called
forget.
closed circuit TV. It wasn't even
I
cable
remember
at the
going to the
time.
movie theater to watch Leonard Hearns,
100%,
Duran Leonard
100%.
movie theater.
But you know, Craig, in a certain way, Craig, didn't that make it better? It made it
Oh,
special.
it's great.
Like, you got your friends. It was a night
Oh, it's
out.
nuts.
You're
Nuts.
going to a
Right.
movie. There was, everything
I got
was
the chills.
new,
It was great.
and yeah, 100%, man. It was a different period of time, and you really appreciate
Yeah,
it,
it was
because I could
crazy.
tell you from being around for all those years. Now you get some of the young guys. They want everything yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, because everything's so easily attainable, like to get the train. Like
True.
years ago, I was going to New Jersey. I was going to Red Bank, New Jersey for jujitsu and some private lessons on Sunday, taking a
How
trip
long it
alone
take
the
you?
whole day just to
Wow.
learn, just to learn a couple of moves. You know what I mean? But that's what you did.
Incredible.
The sacrifice was huge. People, it's the old saying, Craig. It takes 20 years to become an overnight sensation. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
that's what people don't get.
I got the opportunity, to build, our circle was crazy, but how long it goes back, the circle of family, friends with you, and then we build a relationship, and your humbleness and class, second to none. I love you. Your team is, forget it. We go nuts in my house. I think I might have broke some things if guys didn't win a fight. I want to ask you.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
mean, look, but Greg, it goes to your personality too. Like, I liked you the first day I met you, and then when we had the Benny
yeah,
Salerno connection,
yeah,
it was like, and I remember Benny calling Benny, goes, no, the guy's a good guy. You know what
yeah.
I
You
mean?
had to
He
catch
did, he
him.
did.
That's
No, he did say, and Benny could, he could be a prick too. So, but he said, no, the guy's definitely a good guy. And that was it.
Thank
That's all I
God.
needed to. That's all I needed to
Thank,
hear.
thank God I wasn't a mutt. Um,
Did you ever think our relationship would be on the
nah,
reputation of Benny
never.
Salerno?
Shocking, shocking. So we're giving a shout out to Benny.
Shout out to Benny Salerno.
It's just this time thing. Let me ask you a question. So you build or help play a huge part. Matt Sarah, Chris Weidman, Aljo. We got Marab knocking on the door. I personally told you how I feel about Matt Frivola.
Love him.
That's just how I feel. I heard from my son, who has spent a little time with you, what a gentleman, humble. You root for that guy.
Oh, without a doubt, great guy.
And he's got it. He's got it. He's got the heart. But I know you got other guys. Just tell the audience what is needed if you're an aspiring MMA fighter, work ethic wise. What do they need to have? Forget about the talent. What is the work ethic like? Tell me.
Work ethic is the whole thing. You know, unless you're super, super talented, which not many people are in that league, you got to work your ass off. You got to, it's a little cliches, but you definitely got to work harder than the next guy. I just went through that with Bazooka today. I go, dude, where are we going? If we're not working harder than the next guy, where do you think you're going? And everybody would be doing it then. There's got to be a sacrifice somewhere.
Absolutely.
You know, you got to give, because everybody wants to do everything with the least amount of effort, right? The path of least resistance. Not everybody, but they're all guys. I could tell you a guy who's not like that, like Marab. That guy's just constantly working. They want to know why his cardio's so good. Spend a fucking week with him. You'll know. Trust me, you'll know exactly why, because he'll run you into the ground. But let me tell you a funny thing about Frivola too, because you hit on something. He's a nice kid, but I'm gonna say he's the type of guy. He'll walk into a room, the worst guy in the room that nobody's talking to. That's the guy Frivola will go over and try to encourage. Like, he's that type of guy. That's what I like about him. You know, yeah. And I've seen it.
You know better than anybody.
And even in worse situations outside of the gym.
I understand.
Where we're at a fight and a guy gets hammered and he doesn't even have any place in fighting in the octagon. And Frivola will go over there and give that kid a pep talk, man, where most people just don't take the time because there's no upside. So I think he's a really good kid. I like Matt a lot. His dad's a great guy. You would get along great with his father.
Yeah,
you'd love him.
Yeah,
you know?
I just know that.
So, yeah.
So, the work ethic. I don't know if you ever heard of. He's somebody that worked with one of my sons very young, and he told him, a jiu-jitsu guy, Gustavo Costa. He told him, if you want to fight for a living, this is at 15 years old. He told him, if you want to fight for a living, there's no such thing as having a part-time job when you're 19. That's all you do. Train, get ready to fight. That's what he believes.
Yeah,
you can't work here, there. You got to train.
I wouldn't disagree. I definitely wouldn't disagree with that, especially at that age, man.
That's
what else do you have? What else do you have to do if you're going to take the shot? That's the best time, 16, 17, 18, 19, when you're pissing vinegar and you could do 200 things in the same day. You know, it's not like we are now. Like I got about 3 hours in me. Then I got to take a nap.
I got less.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So imagine being a kid. I didn't have that when I was growing up.
Nah, nobody.
I mean, you had to find a guy in the neighborhood that was training. Where you going? There was no schools on every corner. There was nothing.
I want to say something. You know, my words for you are endless as far as how good you are and great your gym is. But I know, master, forget your teachings, second to none. Striking, all of it, game plan. Your motivation is second to none in between rounds. In between rounds, changing on the fly, game plan, adjustments, second to none, Ray Longo. My opinion. That's nice. I know you're humble. I'll say it.
Yeah, I think I appreciate that. I like it, and I really do appreciate it because it's like, again, when you're doing something, as long as it's always organic with me, which it is, I'm good to go. It's not definitely not an act for sure. That's why I say, like, even people try to get me to repeat some of the stuff I say. I just won't do it. I go like that was said in the heat of the moment, and
Absolutely.
I'm not out to prostitute anything like that. Now they got shirts and all sorts of crap that I had nothing to do with, Craig. Seriously.
So
But yeah,
it's amazing.
I think, look, I was a big Vince Lombardi fan, Angelo Dundee, Gil
The
Clancy.
greats. The
I
greats.
like the motivators. I liked even Bill
Hey,
Parcells when he was coaching the Giants. I mean, I like
oh, the
Mad
best.
Madden running up and down the sidelines like a lunatic. You know what I mean? That's the way I kind of used to be. I've definitely mellowed out. But if you go
It's how
back
we
20
grew up.
years, yeah, it's how we grew up, man. Listen, it was about what was I going to say? It was about winning, man. Like when we were younger, and then we hit the '80s, and it was like it's almost like that scene out of the Fockers when De Niro goes, "Oh, I didn't know they gave a ribbon for 11th place."
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like 11th place, dude. If you didn't win in my neighborhood, you might as well have been in 15th place.
That's
It
right.
was either winning or don't talk to anybody, and it
Nobody
was
remembers
crazy.
second.
And
Nobody
and
remembers
that's
second.
yeah, and that's the way it was. That's the way I was brought up, man. It was a
I know.
vicious neighborhood for that
I
shit, man.
know.
Like you were
And
either the guy or you weren't the guy. It was,
and you better not run away. You
yeah,
better at least
no,
fight.
definitely not. No,
Yeah.
so
Take a beat and you'll get more respect. Anyway,
because
Greg.
all those little things, Craig, when you're growing up, and they might seem weird when you're 7 or 8 years old, but they have
Yeah.
an impact on you, man. That
Later
I'm
in life.
telling you, when we hit that thing where you got a lot of the social workers involved and the psychologists about it's just how you play the game, dude, I didn't even get that back then. Like I didn't even understand that and then I kind of switched for a little bit, but I'm back to the square one. It's about
Well,
the W. It's about winning, man. I don't give a fuck. I don't care how the fuck you get there either, man. But it's about winning, and you
I
want to
just
be a
want
good sportsman, that's for sure. And you don't want to diss anybody. But if you're going in there to be happy with third place, that's not gonna work
to
out
stay
good.
home. Stay
Stay
home.
home.
I just
Stay
want
home
to
at
say
this
one
point.
thing again with the time. One,
Yeah.
I thank you so much on a Saturday for giving me your time.
No, anytime. I thought
More than you'll ever know.
no. We're gonna
And
talk this. We're gonna talk this
and
week anyway.
and you know what? I'm jealous of Anik and Florian. I don't want to have to go up to Boston and tell them leave my guy alone. He's going to be with me, but I won't.
I'm there for you, buddy. Trust
I
me.
know
I'm
you
there
are.
for you.
I love you. Keep putting out champs. We'll speak soon. Thank
All
you
right,
so much.
definitely.
I wish we didn't have to, try to move this along, but I give
Nah,
my
don't worry
audience
about it.
a taste because a lot of people have asked for you. So I give them a little
All right,
taste tonight.
tell them we're coming back whenever you
All
want.
right. I love you. Be
All right,
safe,
buddy.
be well, take care of yourself, and we'll speak soon.
Thanks. And I did mean it when I told you before. I think you got a great knack for interviewing people. There's a genuineness and organicness, and it comes across. And I think that's what people like to see. They don't like bullshit and
Thank you. I just
pretentiousness.
I want to get, people that as well that did some good, not all whatever. Wherever it goes, it goes. We'll see what happens. But I love you. Be safe, and we'll
All
speak
right, buddy.
soon.
Let's talk this week.
Thank you so much.
Take it easy, bud. Take it
Thank you,
easy,
pal.
Craig.
Love you, man.